So we're going to do some mapping. Now, if you've got the pack from us, the BPI toolkit, you'll have a set of maps here that we can go through. So that's what we'll go through today. If you don't have that, just let us know. We can send it to you, or it's not a big deal. You can just use whatever sort of process mapping tool that you're using. What I want to do is just run through the main features of the process map, and then we'll go through a little bit around how you would actually get started and do a process mapping exercise. So this one here has got our legend. It's got all our different shapes. We've got another video where we've gone through the shapes and how to use it, so I won't go through those in detail. But I do want to point some attention to some of the different features of the map itself. So the first thing we've got is these horizontal lines here. Now they're called swim lanes. That's where you have a swim lane per role or per area, depending on the level of the map and what you're trying to show. And you will have eventually the process steps within there mapping out the process. Now, what we do is we like to use colours to show different roles and areas and how they fit in. So for example, we might use orange exclusively for the end customer or the student. We might use blue for the team that we're working with, and we might use purple for any sort of areas external to the team we're working with. You can do whatever you want, just as long as you pick a convention, make sure you stick with it. The other thing I want to talk to about when you are setting up your process map is just some of the standard features and naming conventions. So you want consistency. Again, there's no right or wrong. I'll explain to you how we do it, and it works really well. But if you've got your own way, that's fine. But the important thing is consistency. So we always specify whether it's draft or final, and we always specify whether it's as is or to be. It's always on the top right, it's always consistent, so you can flick through them and see. We always have page 1 of whatever, so it's really easy to see if there's multiple pages in a map. When they're printed, that starts getting a bit messy. We always have the file name in the bottom corner, because what you'll find is you'll end up with different versions, especially if you're doing some great continuous improvement. And then you can't remember the file that you've got to go back and change, so it's always good to have that in the corner. We always set up the naming structure at the top of the map in the same structure. So we have the organisation's name, the process area, the process name, and then the numbering and the sub-process. So that might be a particular university, it's the admissions process, it's the processing and admission actual process, and it might be 1.0 getting the application or something. And I'll just draw your attention to the numbering system, because that becomes really important when you've got a lot of different processes. So your overarching process will be numbered 1.0, 2.0, so you might have 1.0 application, 2.0 admissions, 3.0 enrolments, for example. Then your sub-processes would be numbered after that. So you'd have, if 1.0 is application, you might have 1.1 domestic applications, 1.2 international applications. Can you see what I'm doing there? So it is important that you understand that structure and you've got consistency. Make sure you've got a table somewhere where you've got them listed, and what's handy is to have a link to the process map as well.